Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 187. When we last left our heroes, Hino put the final touches on the fight with Gold, seemingly killing her, though it's kind of not clear. We don't really see any blood come out of her headshot wound, so maybe he only severely injured her? I don't know. Also, Arthur showed up and took down the next Butcher, Stream, really fast, but then another Butcher showed up named Dragon, which got Arthur's delusions all up. So yeah, let's jump right on into chapter 187, and we open on a flame-filled sky. Joker and Company 8 aim for Obi's rescue. The enemy facing them are the Butchers and Burns. And we're with, Shinra again. It's always like this. It says you want it. We cut to Burns in his Stage 2 flame form. It's been like 5 chapters since we've seen them, by the way. I'm glad we're coming back to them. Without explaining anything. Being self-contained and thinking you're the only right one. And then our cover picture here is a 2-page spread of the situation right now, with a strange focus on Obi instead of on the actual battle. Like, Burns, Joker, and Shinra are barely even visible in the frame. The man said to be the protector of the Empire became the greatest enemy against Obi's rescue. The distance of the helping hand extended by the hero is far away, and yet... Chapter 187, End of a Prayer. I don't like that. The line that follows is, being self-contained and thinking you're the only right one. I don't like that. And, Shinra gets those kind of winged things that I'm trying to remember how often they show up. Been watching the anime, I know they show up in the fight with Rekka. Those kind of, like, claw wings. I guess it's just one of his forms, you know. Why does Captain Obi have to go through something like this? Even the fire from 12 years ago. If you didn't keep quiet all that time, maybe Sho could have been saved earlier. Sho didn't have to face something like that either. Why are you lending a hand to the White Hoods, Captain Burns? And he, like, throws himself at Burns. Above all, I am a servant to be used by God. And Burns, like, blocks his kick. You're a priest and a fire soldier. Protecting the people is a fireman's duty, isn't it? You and I, before being a priest or a fire soldier, are but humans. And Burns turns to Joker. You also saw Adola that day. I have kept on praying for the sake of this country, of this world. We see Burns in his, like, lieutenant's outfit. Back in his lieutenant days, I guess. Where is it heading, this prayer of ours? Are we getting Burns' backstory? So you're still praying, Leonard Burns. We see Joker back in his assassin days. All while embracing distrust towards this country and this world. Well done. It's actually quite admirable. At the price of one of our eyes, we saw a sense of incongruity in this world. And despite that, you're still praying? To whom? About what? What for? Have you gone blind in your left eye, too? Open your eyes. So one of the things I've always liked about this series is even as it calls suspicion on its world's central religion, you know, with everything in the Verse of the Sol Temple arc a year or so ago, it's never doubted the power of faith in helping people, like, be happier in their lives. You know, there's that great moment during the Iris arc where Foyen explains to Shinra how, you know, even if the church was founded by the evangelist, it still brings comfort to people, and that's still valid. That's still valuable. And that's kind of... I think that's my go-to interpretation with why Burns is still praying in this flashback. How that changes to the point where he is on the side of the evangelist, of course, is a whole other story. Anyway, moving on. So Burns walks past Joker. Again with the silence, huh? And Burns stops. There is no need to change my actions into words. I am a priest working for God, whatever happens. So no, it's a bit different. He's there for God, whatever God is. If God is, you know, trying to save humanity or destroy humanity, he doesn't care. Whatever God says is Burns' goal. Which is different from the people who are like, oh, this faith helps people. You know, Foyen, as I was bringing up a year or so ago, Foyen's argument of, you know, the church is good because it brings comfort. Burns is the exact opposite. I'm on God's side no matter what that side is Burns' ideals. I will continue to pray. Hey, Burns, Ever heard of the word freedom? And Burns turns back to him. You, the Holy Sol's shadow who has no freedom, is asking that? Yeah, that's why I want to become free, at least in my own way of thinking. I have always believed in God. The shape of my belief will not change. Even if there is no God there? That's right. Isn't it painful, that way of living? If there is no God there, then where in the world are our prayers going? So we see that even Burns is kind of, as much as Burns puts on that face of whatever God is doing, no matter how evil it might be, that's my side, there still is, a lot of doubt there. The diary of Raffles I's wife, the founder of the Holy Sol Temple, was a being that impersonated him. Holy Sol Temple, Hajime Industries, we see both their logos. But even if there was no God there, the people were saved by the miracle Amaterasu. In that case, where in the world is the God we believe in? What I saw that day was madness. I touched an overwhelming answer, an overwhelming madness. That was the end of the mankind's destruction. And we see his vision of the evangelist. In the first place, what even is my prayer? For what sake have I been praying for? My friends? The people's salvation? To whom? About what? For what sake have I been praying for? And we see the members of Company 1 in his mind. No, my prayer wasn't desiring anything at all. An innocent prayer. Praying itself is the goal, and we move back to the present. And now I've found it. Beyond what my prayer reaches. And as the image of Joker, have you given up? My prayer desires nothing. Finally, I can serve the answer. The conclusion beyond my prayer. So, I've been assuming this were all his inner thoughts. But Joker seems to respond to it with, that's some awkward gerontocracy. Or was there, which I don't know what that means, which means it's time to look that up. It was a society governed by old people. Alright. So let's see if I can, what was the line that Joker is most likely referring to? So he says you also saw Adola that day, is what Joker's referring to. I can't tell if this, on page 7, I have kept on praying for the sake of this country, of this world. I'm assuming he says that in the present. And that's what Joker is referring to here on page 15. That's some awkward gerontocracy. You too will understand soon enough. And Shinra barks out, I'll never give up! The truth behind Sho, your little brother Sho, your mother. Without these, what is it that you wished for? Your wish hasn't been fulfilled in the the truth about SHC. I thought that was just the O got cut off, but there's a note, SHC is spontaneous human combustion. Your little brother Sho, your mother. Without these, what is it that you wished for? Your wish hasn't been fulfilled in the slightest. And from now on, you won't be able to do anything. I made a promise to become a hero. I'm gonna save everyone! And that shocks Joker. Use the bug on Obi. Oh boy. Your wish. And the White Hood goes over to Obi. They are way too far away to protect Obi. Is this when Obi dies? Will never be fulfilled. And he presses the jar to Obi. Don't do it! And the bug bites Obi. And Obi burns. The scream of despair resounds. Without the helping hand making it in time, will the King of Company 8 become host to the Embers? To be continued in Chapter 188, Armor of Steel. Alright. So I was going to spend this kind of retrospective part of the reaction talking about going over more on Fire Force's views of faith, which is a theme I really like, and I think the show is really good at. But this is a game-changing chapter for a whole other reason. Obi's been bit, which means there are only two ways for this story to go. Both of them are completely game-breaking. Or game-changing, I should say. Either Obi dies right here, which would mean that Obi becomes an Infernal, and then Company 8 probably will have to put him down in the end. Or Obi is the seventh pillar. And I'm not sure which version I like more. Like, Obi, I'm a big Obi fan because I'm always a sucker for the badass normal. You know, the character who has no powers whatsoever and still just kicks ass anyway. And Obi fills that niche so great, and I love him for it. So I'm curious, so I feel like him being the seventh pillar kind of cuts into that, because, he'll have powers. Though it won't cut into the paternal bond he has with Company 8, which is also a great part of him, and all the other things that make Obi really work. But also, I don't know if I want a series without Obi. I love Obi! Though, having to kill Obi will be incredibly heartbreaking, and we'll all cry buckets. You know we will. Damn, that last moment... Holy shit! I mean, I do think this chapter also kind of, is a stark reminder of what the big failing in this arc is, and that's that everything, as much as the butcher fights are, like, entertaining, none of that matters. The entire arc is really, the arc started in its endgame, and then is, like, trying to go back and do its early parts, too. Which makes the butcher fights just seem like they're kind of time-filling. Something for the rest of the cast to do while Shinra and Joker handle the plot. Which is a shame, but it's not a problem with this chapter. This chapter is all around great. Again, seeing more of Burns' mindset. Burns is such an interesting character. I understand him, even if, as I'm, like, horrified by what he's doing. I am curious, though, what's the point of showing the emblems here? There's no similarity between the emblems, besides the eagle and Hajime has kind of lines sticking out of its inner circle, just like the Salt Temple does, but still, that's a slight similarity. But yeah, the more examining of what's going on in Burns' mind after his huge 180 a few chapters ago, seeing some more young Joker, which is always nice. But then, of course, every conversation about this chapter is going to be completely eclipsed by Obi being infernalized. Or becoming the seventh pillar. I don't know which. We'll have to wait for next week, Armor of Steel, which I'm hoping is not going to bring us back to Arthur versus Dragon. Because after a chapter like this, I do not care about that right now. This is where the action is. I want to stay here as long as possible. But that's really all I have to say for this week's chapter. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!